What's going on, everybody? Mr. Thrasha here. Welcome to the 25th anniversary filming locations for A Night at the Roxbury, starring Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan. Love this movie. Was really big on it growing up. So we're going to go around West Hollywood, Santa Monica, and Beverly Hills and check out some filming locations. 25 years later. Score.
First club they get thrown out of was here at the Roxy. Out of these doors, even this door, because you see the bow of the rainbow right there. So you know exactly where they were. This is the first club that got kicked out at the beginning of the movie. Check it out. We're going to the Roxbury. 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 You're looking at now here on Sunset is the One Oak, and this was used as the Roxbury Club and A Night at the Roxbury. This is where they come after being thrown out of the first club. And right here where Randy is, it's randomly Randy. And he's standing in the same spot where the door was Michael Clark Duncan. He was the bouncer. So they get to the front of the line and he goes, "You're not on the list." In that deep voice, right?
Absolutely.
Can you do a Michael Clark Duncan?
Not at all.
You're not on the list.
Yeah, not even close.
I'm not very good at it.
Whoa! This is the Roxbury. No one gets in unless you're on the list. We're on the list.
Here where this car is parked is where they were talking to Michael Clark Duncan trying to get into the club. He says they're not on the list. And he says, "Are you brothers?"
No. Yes.
It's like, good one, but you still can't come in. Then Richard Grieco pulls up here. You get a very good shot of the HBO building right here. It wasn't the HBO building at the time, but that's all there. These buildings are still the same. You also see these buildings really well. They appear a lot closer because they're using different camera for the film, but you can see these buildings really well behind them. All this in A Night at the Roxbury. And Richard Grieco rolls up here.
Right.
See you later, Grieco. Later, Richard.
It's pretty cool. They keep the screens up. All of this was used as the Roxbury, the lineup. They had all the flyers set up here, so they lined up here, all the way to that street. Roxbury.
It's tough to say, considering we didn't get in.
Exactly.
And they end up lining up at the end of the line, right in the middle of this intersection. Chris Kattan, Will Ferrell get their spot in line right here, end of the line. Then two girls show up behind them, just like that, and it's like,
You want to dance?
We're not in the club.
right here. One of a few Emilio moments in the film.
And this guy who's on the phone turns around and tips his hat like this. Emilio Estevez.
Mighty Duckman, I swear to God, I was like, Emilio! Emilio!
Folks press on here. Chris Kattan's eating some goldfish at one point. I think Will Ferrell was enjoying an ice cream cone. And they finally made their way back to Michael Clark Duncan at the door.
Club is closed, folks. Sorry.
North Cannon Drive, Beverly Hills is where you're gonna find the Butabi house. Butabi residence right here. Of course, when it cuts here, right after they're at the Roxbury, towards the beginning of the film, the first bit of daylight you see, this is about the shot you get right here. Just says home and the time. Here's the first shot of the house that you get in the film. And it pretty much looks the exact same. The balconies, the windows, even the palm trees out front. The Butabi residence here in Beverly Hills. Machines are Doug's thing. I'm more of a people person. This is hands down my favorite Will Ferrell movie. One of his first that, in my opinion, definitely put him on the map. Chris Kattan went on to do some okay films after. Not quite the success Will Ferrell garnered, but all began here. The Butabi house. Butabi residence. Would have been scenes in there with Molly Shannon, Dan Hedaya. Beautiful palm trees on this property. It was not easy to find this residence. Another angle there of the Butabi house. Pretty cool. Walking up the side of the Butabi house right now. See that interesting thing you see on a lot of the roofs in Beverly Hills up there. Kind of see that in the film too.
It's your Grieco. How do you know Steve?
I just don't want to be sued.
This could have been the guest house that Doug starts staying in after their fight. And then back here. Of course, I think they just used the back of the main house during the wedding scene where Doug comes out to make sure his brother doesn't get married to Molly Shannon. Looking at that railing on the back of the house, I think they just used the back of the main house for that. I can't really see over this wall to really see the backyard, fortunately. Here's a screen grab here from the film. Doug holding the boombox over his head. And you know it's the exact pool house because you can see the eaves trough right here. And the pieces of wood right there. To look the same in the next shot you're going to see. And I can see that there is in fact a railing in front of here, but the guest house looked pretty... looked to be kind of a different shape, but I can't really see. But I do see a railing up there. This could have been the guest house that Doug stays in. He's in the guest house. It's a mansion in there. They don't have the good movie channels. Yes, they do. They have all the movie channels. But there's no HBO! These exact palm trees in A Night at the Roxbury, Chris Kattan and Will Ferrell come walking this way to the Bee Gees song. And they actually begin up here. You can see the La Ciénaga sign in the film. Sign's probably been changed since, but that's where it begins. They start walking down this way to Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. Will Ferrell, Chris Kattan, walking this way.
Out of town? Well, you have a princess. You have a local number.
It's a little hard to know exactly where they were walking, but it was right about here. To the Bee Gees song, Staying Alive, Staying Alive. Will Ferrell, Chris Kattan, the Butabi brothers walking like this. And it's right about here where that lady walks by them. They both turn around. Oh, hey, baby, how's it going? Continue down this way to where the fake plant store that their father owned was right here. You can see this IHOP building. It's an IHOP now. Yeah, it is still an IHOP. But you can see that building in the film. I'll show a still of that. Interesting that it's still here. You can make out these structures as well, but very distinguishable peak of this building.
After they get married, we're going to knock it down, combine stores, and have the first plant lamb shop.
So we push a little bit further down, What's interesting, before I show the plant store, is they filmed them walking to the Bee Gees Staying Alive this way. So it was all filmed from Cienega up here this way. However, when they enter the plant store, which was right here, their father's plant store, it's now apartments. As they enter it and end that walk, they're actually coming around this corner and they enter the plant store right here. Hacienda Place was their father, played by Dan Hedaya. His fake plant store, Butabi Silk Garden, was here. So this was the entryway, but there's no entryway here anymore. It's apartments. And Molly Shannon's father's store, the lamp store, was right here to the left. What's really cool is Barney's Beanery, the original Barney's Beanery. You're gonna check that out in a second, right here, and you can see that Barney's Beanery sign behind them the whole time when all those scenes are taking place here.
Don't just give me a call or call me later if you want to go out or just call me anyway.
Yeah, pretty awesome. Some really funny scenes in there too. Operator 238, please. Operator 238.
Is your dad again at the lamp store?
Yeah, I missed you. I remember before I went to school, you said that when I came back from school that we could get together.
Van would have been parked here, and when Molly Shannon's talking to Will Ferrell, Chris Kattan's just firing the flowers at the van. I can't believe it's still here, but this is the original Barney's Beanery. I gotta get a coffee here, I think. Not a bad idea. It was featured in A Night at the Roxbury. I wonder if they know that. The sign looks a lot closer to them in the film, but there it is. Pretty cool. Still open to this day. See this sign? It looks like the exact same sign if you look at the wear on it. This is probably the exact same sign that you see behind them in the film. Let's just take a quick peek in the original Barney's Beanery. Pretty cool. That we got pool tables, great food here, TVs to watch the game. Got a lot of cool things in here actually. Front door. This motorcycle. The Butabi plant store right here. The IHOP in the film. Barney's Beanery over here. Corner they walked around. Very cool spot from A Night at the Roxbury. It's about right here they're standing. Will Ferrell asks them, "Want to crunch it?" It's like, "Let's crunch." And they head to the crunch gym.
You want to crunch it?
Sure. Let's crunch.
This, at 8000 Sunset, was the Crunch Gym. Still got the Crunch logo right there. We're gonna head up in here. We're not gonna be able to get into where they actually did the workout scenes, but it was up there. That's where the gym was in A Night at the Roxbury. Take the colorful stairs up. Ooh, it's so Roxbury-like. Wanna crunch it? Let's crunch. So all those scenes were actually shot in there as well. Not gonna be able to get in there. And we can see through the glass. Yeah, I'm not even sure if it's open. The gym equipment would be back there. It's where they shot all those scenes from A Night at the Roxbury, all the workout scenes. Right in here, inside the Crunch Gym. Let's crunch.
Who's got an attitude here?
Great! No, I got a nitro bar.
How about an energy bar?
No, I got a muscle triplicator bar.
Okay.
It's called Full Extension, and I'm not seeing it. Sorry to come down on you guys. I think there's a part 2 where Molly Shannon goes to talk to Will Ferrell, and I heard about your brother. So? It's like, so when are we gonna go out? And he's just not feeling it. He doesn't have those feelings for her, I guess. And he's rather annoyed by her. They do end up getting together, but his instructor's pretty surprised that he doesn't have a thing for her. So as she's walking away, he's like, great glutes. Will Ferrell's like, I don't care. Okay, so then we see Chris Kattan and Will Ferrell walking right here, right to the left of the Santa Monica Pier. And Will Ferrell says, I've been thinking about work at the plant store. And Chris Kattan says, work? You're thinking about the plant store? You're supposed to be thinking about the club. You'll see in the shot I'm about to show the pier right behind them.
He's thinking about, hey, what's up?
How you doing?
Can we call you sometime, Pocahontas?
You got a number? Want some of this?
They line up some of these buildings here with Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan and the pier behind them as they're walking this way.
You and I opening up only the coolest club in town, all of the Roxbury.
Doug, how are we gonna...
Butabi brothers are walking this way. See the Santa Monica Pier here behind them. He starts telling them, so from now on, the only club we're going to is the Roxbury. Okay? And it's actually right over here with the pier in the background, and they start going, Roxbury, 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 Roxbury. Oh, hey, baby, how you doing? Hey, want a little bit of this? How about a little of that?
Roxbury! Roxbury! Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
Guys up for some of this?
We're back at Larrabee, not too far from when the Roxbury is. You see Turner's Liquor right here in the film, behind them when this whole scene's going down. So, as the scene begins, you see Turner's Liquor here. They come under Larrabee, driving this way. He said, is that an ATM? He's like, no, it's just Weight Watchers. Is that an ATM? No, that's where we drop off videos. Is that an ATM? Bang! They get rear-ended right here by one Richard Grieco. Richard Grieco. And it's Richard Grieco that gets them inside the Roxbury.
Is that an ATM?
That's not an ATM. That's where you drop off videos.
ATM!
No, that's...
This was not a Chase Bank here that they were passing by. It was a video store in the movie that was there. And it was just about right up here, probably where this vehicle is, where the rear ending takes place. You get an angle this way, and you can really see this building behind Chris Kattan and Will Ferrell when he's saying, see? He understood us because he's an artist and he's very sensitive. You can make out those buildings behind him.
Oh, great. They're starting with the neck injuries. I'm screwed.
Featured in A Night at the Roxbury. Signs have changed a bit, but yeah, you see it right behind them when they're just over here. It's closed right now. It could be permanently closed. Yeah, I think it's just closed right now. Yeah. See this in A Night at the Roxbury behind them. A Night at the Roxbury, and this was the Roxbury. It's pretty killer. They still have the screens. The building's still the same shape. It just doesn't look like the Roxbury anymore. It's the One Oak. The One Oak. Richard Grieco finally gets them into the Roxbury. Eventually, they get into the Roxbury. Michael Clark Duncan couldn't deny them when they had Richard Grieco.
Yeah, when you got the power of the Grieco.
Power of the Grieco. They finally make it in. I believe he's like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And he's like, guys, this is the coat room. Club's in here. Richard Grieco right there. Get the HBO building in the shot. These buildings, as I mentioned, those ones behind Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan. And of course, rest in peace, Michael Clark Duncan. Roxbury. 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 I love all that dance music in the film. I love those songs. Every time I watch that movie.
Careful, you're gonna break the window.
Yeah, don't break the window. Yeah, right outside the front door here. Jeez. You got a beware of dog sign. This is it. Butabi Mansion, Night at the Roxbury. Take it in. It's gorgeous. Butabis!
Boys, wait. I don't like you leaving without a phone.
They did quite a few scenes here at the Butabi house in A Night at the Roxbury. I'm gonna assume that those scenes were back there for the wedding. And Richard Grieco was back there talking to Dan Hedaya. Instructor, their buddy from the Crunch Gym. In the film, his name is Greg, I think. He ends up stepping up and marrying Molly Shannon. Talks her into it in about 20 seconds. Here in Beverly Hills. And I've already matched up all the windows with the film and on Google Maps, and I'm pretty darn sure they shot the interiors in there, because their room windows kind of match up, so I'm pretty sure there's one of their room at the towards the beginning of the film was up here. These windows look very similar, so pretty sure they did use the interiors. I think the fact is that you're a little bit harder on Doug than you are Steve, as he reminds you of yourself when you were a youngster. Richard Grieco? You see right through me. A Night at the Roxbury. Glad I found this. Thanks again to Halloween filming locations in Beverly Hills. That's cool. One more shot of the Butabi house. The Butabi house, A Night at the Roxbury. Love these big LED screens. So, the Butabi brothers at the end of the film come driving by this building and they notice that it's their club idea that they pitched to Mr. Zadir. A club that has the inside on the outside and the outside on the inside, and this was the club. So when they make their way over here, they make their way inside, and much to their surprise, they are on the list. Doug Butabi, Steve Butabi. They just use this building here. And obviously there's no trespassing, but we can get it right here. So they make their way in. It was their idea. Mr. Zadir is there to greet them. He says, of course, it was your idea, I got you in. And they had made it. They got their own nightclub. That's about gonna do it, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, please subscribe. 1997, A Night at the Roxbury. That's where we end. A Night at the Roxbury filming locations. Thanks again. Please like, please subscribe. Hit up my other filming locations. Much to come. Never know what you may be missing here on the Mr. Thrasha Show. Cause it would be like dancing on water. And people love to do that. Wait a minute. Did you grab my ass? It's okay if you did. Thanks again for joining in, everybody. Really appreciate it. And I want to give a huge shout out to Paul H. Thank you so much for helping me find the Butabi residence. It was a unlisted address, and this guy can find anything. Paul H. Halloween filming locations. Follow him on Instagram. Please like, please subscribe. If you're new here, subscribe and let you know when a new episode goes up. Never know what you may be missing here on the Mr. Thrasha Show. Score. I was like, Emilio! The Mighty Duck Man, I swear to God.